We'll call the select board meeting for February 23rd to order. Chief Mantello, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Need a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second it.
I have a question. Do we,
We have to add something to the agenda though.
yes. We have to add one thing and possibly delete another, so you go first.
Somewhere between 8:15 and 8:25 when we're doing liquor licenses, we need to add Beach Incorporated doing business as Castleton Corners Deli for a tobacco substitute license. We just put it last if we want to.
Okay, is that the same? Was that the one that's, we know as Irving?
No, this is Castleton Corners Deli.
This is beige.
Actually asked to be for a tobacco license, a tobacco substitute, and second-class license.
Yeah, there's three different ones in there.
Stapled
I just
together.
read the first one. Tobacco.
Okay, we'll do that at the end. You're on that, Rob?
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
Mike, do you want to add something to the agenda as well?
I was gonna do that during the police update.
Okay.
the other one I have is, do we want to, the one that was tabled last week? Where's that on? That's not on this agenda either, is it?
It's the first three on the tobacco.
111.
Green Mountain 111? Okay, yeah, because we definitely want to talk about that. And, do we want to table the traffic ordinance till next meeting?
I don't know if Pete, I didn't talk to him today about it, so,
I haven't looked over what you guys questions about, so.
okay, so we have a
So
table.
I would suggest we table that if everyone's in agreement.
Mm-hmm.
So, we'll call the question to approve the agenda as modified. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed? Approval of the minutes for, we'll do these one at a time, January 8th. You want to make the motions, Rob?
What's that?
You want to make the motions?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes for January 8th, 2026.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
None.
I have none. Do you have any, Rob?
20, on the 26, 27 operating budget discussion, my name's spelt wrong to start with. Steele.
Yep.
And on a bunch of the sentences in here, it says like our Combs, comma, we could take out benefits for full-time clerk, but then if we hired blah, blah. Should it say, instead of our Combs, comma, should it say our Combs stated?
Yes, you should.
There's a whole bunch of those, like there's another one down, this is our Steele, comma, health officer budget.
Which one are you on?
Under that same 26, 27 operating budget discussion,
Yeah,
throughout that whole thing, like, it's, anytime somebody spoke, it just says who spoke with a comma.
Yeah.
And then what they said, should we get rid of the comma and say stated?
yep.
I mean, it's probably not a big deal, but it just reads better. That's all I have.
Anything else?
And you-
All in favor of the minutes for January 8th?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed? Minutes for January 12th.
Make a motion to approve the minutes for January 12th, 2026.
Second?
Any discussion?
Yes.
Go ahead, Mary Lee.
Down at the bottom, citizens' comments. Nancy Field has a question regarding the lack of a town clerk. And then in parentheses, clerk is spelt wrong. On the next page, where Katie started writing Sand Hill is just S-A-N instead of S-A-N-D. And down to the bottom, the last paragraph, police department, police isn't spelt directly. The top of the next page, you're talking about Crystal Haven, and it says Crystal Have. Now on page 4, this is a blank question to Josh Cohen. I think it was Mark that made the question.
That's what I wrote down as well.
Okay, and, let's see. Down in the same paragraph, 5 up, he will also review the guardrails to see what, take me out of there and just say what needs to be replaced. And on page 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, the 5th paragraph down, it says our steel, and that's it. Didn't say what he said or what he did or what he didn't do. It's the bottom of the paragraph. Now on page 7, it says the informational meeting, town meeting will be held at the Recreation Center building instead of College. And the next one down where Bob Spalding's talking about the cemetery, the owner of the property need an S on that. And I think that's all.
Where's that last one?
January 20th. Anybody have anything else?
I had
S on there,
page
property
5 under Recreation Center upgrades. The last paragraph there, it says Mickey looked at it and the bottom wasn't closing. It should probably say Mickey McClure looked at it. And then on page 7, said our steel will ask the Cemetery Association. I think Bob was gonna ask the Cemetery Association, not me.
Yeah, I got all that information.
I don't even
think
know who's
that's-
on the Cemetery Association, so
Yeah, I took care of all that.
that wasn't me.
Can you go back to the first one you mentioned?
Yep. Under Recreation Center upgrades on page 5. The second paragraph under that says there was a citizen concern for the door going out in the gym to the basketball court not shutting properly. Mickey looked at it and the bottom wasn't closing. We should probably define who Mickey is.
Which is spelled wrong too.
That's all I have.
Mark, you have anything?
I don't.
Okay, one more thing, bottom of page 2, Highway Department update. We had 1,200 to 1,400 tons, not 12,000 to 14,000 tons of salt.
Good catch.
That's the only thing I found you guys didn't.
I saw that and wondered about it and didn't mark it. I did see it though.
We get enough for a few years.
12,000,
We
we'd
burned a lot up,
be in
apparently.
good shape with 12,000 tons. Okay, anything else on the minutes for January 12th? If not, all in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Okay.
So I have 4 ayes. Bob Spalding has abstained. Okay, minutes for January 28th I have next.
Yeah, I don't have a January 26th anywhere.
I don't either.
Mine says 28.
Yeah.
I think mine says 28 too.
Yes.
Well, there's 28 after that, so you're missing the ones for the 26.
I would make a motion to approve the minutes for Wednesday, January 28th, 2026.
Second?
Any discussion?
I'm fine.
All in favor? Aye.
I'm gonna abstain too, because I wasn't.
I don't think you were there for that one.
I
That was
wasn't
a
here for-
hybrid soon.
Yep.
Special
Yep.
one that we had.
That was the quick housekeeping one.
Okay.
Okay, last one is February 9th.
Make a motion to approve the minutes for February 9th, 2026.
Second?
Any discussion?
Yes.
Go ahead, Mary Lee.
Right up at who was present, this is Becky in a line, I think it's Lanfear. Anyone else remember? I don't know who Doc Who is, though.
You can't tell by the recording. I went back and looked at the recordings when she put the blanks in there, and I couldn't tell.
Down under citizens' comments, the last sentence, let's see where, M. Jones will have the MOD vetted by the town attorney, and if approved by the select board, will include any changes to the MOD in a request for proposal so the project can be put
Out for bid.
up for bid instead of using, following the town bid policy. I drew a line under, this is page 3, 1, 2, 3, 4 down where Bob Spalding. I drew a line under building with town staffing in case an issue arises. It just doesn't sound quite right.
Where are you, Mary Lee? Page 3.
1, 2, 3, the fourth one down that starts Bob Spalding.
Okay, got it.
The third line down, it says, shouldn't have people in the building with town staffing in case an issue arises.
Should say without town staff.
Should say without, right? Yeah,
Okay.
that would clear that up.
And on page 5, second paragraph, where it starts, M. Jones, the very last line says location at a cost exceeding $1,000. There should be an A in there, $1,000 a day, plus cost of disposing. And that's all I have.
She got one.
All set, Bob?
I'm all set.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Did you have anything there?
Abstain, I wasn't present.
Aye.
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 I have 3 ayes and 2 abstentions. I wasn't present either. I did watch the recording, but I was not here. All right, we're going to move on to citizens' comments, items that are not on the agenda. Do we have anything on Zoom? I do not see any hands on Zoom.
Oh, my God.
Mary?
Only because.
Before I forget, has everyone silenced their cell phones?
Signed in.
I just want to take a minute. So for the last 5 home games that were here, there were 5 3rd and 4th grade kids, 3rd and 4th grade basketball games. And Friends of Castleton Parks and Rec provided a greeter and also ran a 50-50. And during that 5 weeks, we gained $1,048. And I just say that because that's the crowds that we were drawing for 3rd and 4th grade basketball. Bob, you witnessed 1 week of it.
I did.
And and folks all knew that that was going towards the gym upgrades. And just wanted to take a minute to say that we discovered an all-star volunteer during that process, Sage O'Rourke. She's in 1st grade. And she proudly wore the Friends volunteer lanyard and the nail apron, and she went around and, cute as a button, helped me sell 50-50 tickets, so it was great. And Sage proved to be an irresistible salesperson. And I also wanted to take a minute to thank everyone who contributed to that, especially all the winners of the 50-50. Of those games, there was 2 games primarily at each day, and only 3 people kept their prizes. The rest gave it back. So that was great. And I'd also like the select board to know that the Lions Club just donated $500 to Friends of Rec for materials to help in the process of raising money, like tables and, things that can also be used here in the town. But just things that will come in handy, and things we don't have to rent. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
Mary?
Anything else for citizens' comments? A DRB appointment. Thomas Murphy.
He's right there, too.
Thank you for coming in, Mr. Murphy.
You're welcome. So, thank you for listening to my request to become a permanent member of the DRB. Currently, I'm an alternate. I've served on the committee once or twice, going in, being prepared, listening to the arguments and asking pertinent questions. I'm currently on the Planning Commission, which we're right now preparing the town plan, which we'll be bringing in front of this board pretty soon. We're almost complete with our 2026 draft of our town plan, which has been a lot of work to date. But recently retired last year in the financial service industry for 44 years. Now looking to give back to my community and be a part of it and serve as best I can. So Karen Oakham did approach me that one member of the committee has resigned, and they need to have 5 members on the committee, and I think there are a little bit less than that, and that's why she's asked me to become a permanent member. So I've submitted my application to become a permanent member of the DRB.
Thank you. So
It's number 5.
that brings us back up to 5, does it not?
Amanda Sumner,
Pardon?
Amanda Sumner, I believe, is the one that resigned. So that fills that vacancy.
So what's the board's pleasure?
You need a motion?
I would,
Go ahead.
Somebody has to do it.
I would make a motion that we appoint Thomas Murphy as a full-time member of the DRB and thank him for his service in stepping forward.
Before we second, do we want to establish a term? Should it end, say, in June 30th, 2027?
Because I don't have that chart in front of me that has all the dates, could you say it to finish out Amanda Sumner's term, and that way, at that point, then he can be reappointed?
I don't see why that wouldn't work.
That way we don't mess up the years thing.
Sure, have it end when?
For Amanda Sumner, who resigned to
Okay, yep.
to fill out the rest of her term.
Okay, I'd like to amend that motion that we appoint Tom Murphy to fill out Amanda Summers' position on the DRB.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion is unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate you helping out.
Volunteering.
I'll get the list updated.
That'd be good. Now we need to talk about the memorandum of understanding between the Friends of Rec and the town for replacing the gym floor. I've been through all this, and we've got a group of people that really want to help and really want to do the right thing, and we want to get the right thing done, and now we got to figure out a way to make it happen without overburdening the Friends or exposing the town. So our attorney, Merrill Bent, wrote a really nice memo, which, did the Friends see this?
Andy forwarded it to me and asked me to come to the meeting.
Okay, so Merrill raises some good points that we need to, that nothing that we can't hash out between the Friends and the Select Board, but we need to make sure that we're all on the same page. So does the board have any comments on this before we move on and ask Mary to speak?
I would just wanna see the MAU or whatever it is written with the stuff, MOU written with the stuff that the attorney needed added into it. I think once that's fine.
Yeah, the biggest concern I have is if the cost of the gym floor exceeds $105,000, what do we do?
I think we should be looking for firm prices, not estimates.
I agree.
I think back when I did the grant for the tanker at the fire department, we were in this situation, and first cost of change, I think the truck was $154,000, and we made it clear to the company that that's how much it was gonna be. That If there was an overage, it was theirs. That we had a $154,000 grant and, or with our match, that's what it was. And don't ask us for 25 cents more. And if you can't commit to that, don't participate.
Mr. Chairman, I believe in your packets was that letter back from Andy to me, answering some of those questions. There was talking about the 105 burden, et cetera. You know, obviously there shouldn't be any, should be nothing on the backs of the Friends of Castleton Parks and Rec for permits. That's something the town should take care of. But the other stuff about the burden, the 105,000, the escrow funds and the contracting party were still something that he said we gotta hash out, obviously.
Yeah, and I don't think it's anything, any of those are overly hard to get to the bottom or to resolve. I'm just more, you know, I just want to make sure that both the town and the Friends are protected from, you know, a significant cost overrun. So I think Mark's point of sending this out to bid even before the memorandum of understanding is ratified may be appropriate. Do you think so, Mark?
I personally do. I wouldn't send out for a bid. I would send out for a completed cost. I think that the whole concept of bids has been way too open-ended, and it's almost assumed now that bids will overrun by 10 to 25%. I don't know where that came from, how that changed in our society, but it's like, no, this is, you're not putting a bid out and then add to it later, so you can bid low and charge more later. You better figure it out, because we're going to accept a completed cost, period.
If you write the RFP that way, it can state in the RFP that the bid that they submit is 100% final, that there's no contingency, there's no change orders and that kind of stuff. So we can write it that way into the bid packet.
Yep. And the only other thing I would like to know is who's going to be the clerk of the works? You know, somebody should be responsible to be familiar with what the contract says, what they're going to do. You know, shouldn't just say, we're going to put a new floor down. You know, it's got to, and I'm not familiar with that work. What has to happen? Is the old floor removed? What happens? And the clerk of the work should be there. I don't know how long this project takes, but probably every day, at least for 10 minutes, to go, yep, this work is being completed correctly.
And then then we got to write into the RFP, like billing. Are they going to bill incrementally, or are they going to bill all at once? Because if they're billing incrementally, that's really important that the clerk of the works is here, so that we know that that work that's being billed has been done, and it's done the way we want it being done.
Right. But when it's all done, you can't see any defects underneath that for a couple of years. So we want to make sure it's correct.
Your thoughts, Mary?
I just have a couple things. A year ago, this board decided that we would have a committee to have people come in and look at the floor and give us bids. And we did do that. And Dick, you were on the committee. John was on the committee, for clarification, John Alexander, and Rick Waring. And Rick was brought in because of his experience at the college as the head of maintenance, and he had overseen the gyms and a lot of the work that had been done on the gym floors. So he was very familiar, and he, in my opinion, gave a lot of good insight.
He was very helpful.
And one of the flooring that we chose as a group was this. It was a silicone floor. It's 9 millimeters, and you can see how it's built up. If anybody wants to.
We seen that already, yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah, we got things with that, yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
So,
Okay.
So what that group explained how this would go down is that they'd bare the floor down to the slab. And that's where they're not certain, once the tile comes up, they're not gonna be certain how even that all is. So that's an uncertainty to them until they get that up. But they figured this would be a 3-week process between getting everything up, leveling it, and the other process, and I'm just gonna read, if the slab does not pass the moisture test, which they're guessing based on the year of this building, it probably won't, plus they can see where the moisture comes up through the tiles currently. So they're guessing that it's not going to pass the moisture test. They would need to shot blast the slab and apply a Coster VAP moisture mitigation material on there. And then they would install the 4,600 square feet of the Robbins Classic floorings. And so that is the one thing that they would not be 100% positive until they got the flooring up as to how much it's going to take to make sure that everything is leveled out.
So our bid packet has to assume worst-case scenario.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fair to assume that there will be a moisture problem due to the age, and whether it's out of level by 1/16 of an inch or 3/8 of an inch, it's gonna be the same. I would tell them to bid it with that included, and these open-ended contingencies are never good for the consumer. You know, you can be sure, once they get that up, they're gonna say, needs more work. It's another 10,000, another 20,000, so tell them to bid it with all that in it, and Rick would be the guy that would certainly oversee that that work was done correctly.
I will certainly ask him if he will. I mean,
Certainly,
I would feel comfortable with him. Dick, would you agree with that?
I would be more comfortable with him doing it than me. I mean, that's his
That's his thing, yeah.
That's his field of expertise.
And
So if he's
not-
willing, I
And
would
if not, he'd
support
call
that.
somebody,
Yeah,
and if he had any questions,
you know, if he's not willing, he would,
certainly say.
you know, we could ask him for recommendations, but hopefully he would be.
No contingency goes unrequested. You know, if there's anything that they say, we'll have to let you know later, it's gonna cost you money, right? Do you ever see that not happen?
Not in today's world.
So let's do this. Let's, who's gonna write the bid spec? Is that something the town's gonna do, or is that something the Friends are gonna do?
Well, we can do that based on the information we've collected. and
With
then-
Rick?
Yes, with Rick and with Mike. Mike, also, I believe you and Andy had spoke that we'd have the representative who was bidding come in and make a presentation.
What I'd like to do is, because there's certain things that has to be in our bid packets, is if I can work with Rick and whoever from Friends to write that, so at the end, everyone's on the same page, and it meets our requirements for our bid policy. We have to there's certain things in the league, the Vermont Leagues of Cities and Towns asks us to put in there, like what the insurance levels are, and those kind of things, so we're protected, certificates of insurance, et cetera, et cetera. So there are some things on there that are administrative in nature that we need to make sure are in there.
So we're agreed that the
And
town,
just to be clear, there's also one thing that we can't necessarily cover because you'd have to hire them is, any electrical hookup is supplied, got to be supplied from the building. So they have to have a direct hookup for their high-powered machines that will be doing the work in this blasting that they're talking about. So that would be something, they said that is very common to do and it doesn't take long, so, but it'll have to be a licensed electrician to do that.
That's something that Paul, once we know what they need, then we could have it, we can accommodate it.
Yep.
So I just
Some sort of a
wanted to be
220 power source.
forthright about that.
I would guess, probably a 220 power source, which may or may not exist in this building.
I don't know, amp service comes in here, so that's something we'll find out, but.
Yep.
Would there be a 220 in the air with
There could,
in the stove, 220?
there could be, but, you know, is it the, you know, does it supply the proper current? You know, if they need a 50 amp,
amps.
220,
And
then it's not hard to do
just
that.
following up on the bid that we had gotten for the people that brought in this sample, they, when we decided that we were gonna write up this MOU, we had them update the price from a year ago to this year, and this comes out to $101,420, and we did give you 105. So that does give a little bit of wiggle room. I understand it's not a huge amount, but we're a volunteer group. So, and is there any questions about how we plan to raise the rest of the money? We were very concerned that you guys might not be comfortable with that.
Say that last sentence again, please.
We were really concerned you guys might not be comfortable with us going in not having all the money. I want you to understand that we do not have all of the funds. We have 60%. And then, as the work is done, depending on the company, but this particular company, and I'm not saying all companies will do that, they will let us follow up in 2 more payments, because they understand clearly that we are nonprofit, we are fundraising. So we will do a cash bash again, and last year we made $34,134. And then we have a anonymous volunteer that will donate up to $20,000 more to fill in a gap. So we feel very comfortable that we can cover.
So we're all agreed that the Friends and the town are gonna collaborate on a bid packet
Yes.
and get that out to bid.
But let me be clear, because I missed this. So
Okay.
you're anticipating this is going to cost $101,000,
Yes.
and you have half of that money,
We have 60%.
okay? And the contractor that you've talked with is aware of that
Yes.
and is willing to, you have terms worked out with them?
Potentially.
Okay.
We understand that this is a bidding process.
Yep.
And they understand it's a bidding process.
As long as they understand that this is a contract with Friends of Rec,
Absolutely.
and they would not be able to put a lien on any town property.
And that is correct. And that's how the MOU was written up, that Friends will absorb the cost of the floor. Now, the only thing that, you know, if, because it's an old building and, you know, it's determined that when this is up, I don't know what we could possibly foresee that when you start digging up in here, you know, I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball any more than you guys do, but we have $105,000 and we're anticipating, they walked it all over. They didn't foresee any big problems, but like anything else, I'm not trying to mislead you, Mark, that's the.
No, I didn't
that's the
take it
part.
that way. But you understand, from our position, we can't be in a spot where there's a lien on this building.
Yes, absolutely.
Without
No.
approval
And-
from the
And that was right
taxpayers.
in our MOU, that we fully understand that, and we take responsibility for this. And the flooring company that we talked to, they fully understand that, and this isn't their first time that they've worked with a Boosters Club. This is not uncommon to have fundraisers for schools, for towns, rec centers, that do this kind of fundraising.
I would make a motion that we accept this MOU to allow Friends to go ahead and get a firm, completed price from their preferred contractor, with bid specs worked out by Friends and Rick Waring, with the select board approval pending reading the final contract.
Do I have a second?
I'll
I'll second it.
So the feedback I want to provide is that at this point in time, I think it's premature to accept the memorandum of understanding. I think we can work with the Friends on a handshake for right now, because that memorandum of understanding has to get finalized and modified, and there's a few changes that have to be made before we can accept it.
Correct.
That doesn't mean that we can't collaborate with the Friends, get a bid packet put together, and get that process started. In the meantime, I think that we need to spin off a subcommittee of this group to work with Merrill Bent, or just look at this and sit down and focus on it, and get a MOU that's modified that the Friends can accept, that's acceptable to the town. And then this board can ratify that, and the Friends can ratify it, and that'll be the end of that. But in the meantime, that doesn't mean we can't stop the process, or can't continue with the process and get the bid packet put together and get that out there, so that we're making progress. Does that all make sense?
It does, yep.
So that should be our course of action. Am I clear enough, Mike?
I just wanted to clarify, my notes is, you made a motion to accept the MOU, right? But you're saying.
We did not get we got a
I'm
second
going to
for
withdraw that
discussion.
motion.
I'll withdraw the second first, and
So there is no motion at this point, but that doesn't mean we can't make progress, Mary.
Oh, okay.
I think that this memorandum of understanding is really close to what'll work, but we got to do a couple of modifications on it, and I think our input from our attorney was appropriate. So,
And
I'm
very
gonna-
kind, because we haven't done this.
I think two members of this board ought to spin off on a subcommittee to get this ratified, or get this ratifiable. So is there any volunteers?
I'm gonna volunteer Mark Brown to be one of them.
Yeah, I'll do that.
I was hoping you'd say that.
Sure.
Thank
Who am I going to work with?
Who do you want to help you? It's either going to be me, Rob, Bob, or Mary.
Not me.
Who has availability and time and wants to do it?
I'll do it.
Okay.
But you're driving the bus, I'll right seat
Yep,
right.
we'll get it done.
Okay, Mary, we have a plan.
I'm glad I didn't have to
Okay,
get
and
involved in that.
then, Mark, just to make sure, so do you need 3 bids? Is that, so will this be advertised? Will you take care of advertising it?
Once we have the bid
Because-
packet put together, I'll follow our bid policy, which we have to advertise it, put it in the paper. We have certain criteria we have to meet on that.
So that would be
That
something
would
the
be
town
something
will
the town will
handle?
do.
Okay, just wanted to be
And-
clear
and
on
if-
that, because
and if
we want
we-
to do it legally, and you know how to do it.
And if we get 1 bid or 12 bids, this board has the right to reject or accept any and all bids. And if there's only 1 bid, we have the right, after we've solicited bids and put it out to public, we can accept a bid if there's only 1. Is that correct? I believe that's correct. So, doesn't mean we can't move forward even if we only get 1 bid.
Right.
If we get the right bid.
Right,
And we don't have to accept the lowest bid. We have to accept the best bid.
right.
And that's something that we're more than willing to collaborate with the Friends on when it's time.
I believe that's written into their MOU.
Well, their MOU is for us to pick the bid, if I read that correctly, and then they get to approve it. I think it'd be better if we just collaborated with the Friends,
Well,
you know what I mean?
I think it's this verbiage that we would
Yeah,
just,
if,
we would bring it back to our group and,
if 2 of you and 3 of us sit down at a table together and come up with a plan that makes sense, and then we present it to both groups, I think it would be fine.
and
Or
I'll,
however we work that, that's part of what you and I are gonna help try to figure out, Mark, is how that MOU has to be written, so that we can collaborate with the Friends and all work together and get this done.
and we appreciate that.
And we really appreciate everything you've done to get this far, your group and you personally.
Well, we're pretty proud to be able to bring this to you.
You should be.
And,
Absolutely.
You should be.
we're really excited, because we really think that this will be the diamond in this building.
Yep.
And once, as I've mentioned to all of you before, I really think that once we can get a good floor in there, and even before all the, it's painted and everything, but all the fancy, the pretty accoutrements beyond the floor, that you'll really be able to generate some money for this town. I really do. I think that there's going to be a lot of call for a good gym floor, and the building space. So I'm hoping that it will not disappoint.
Well, I for one thank you and the rest of the friends for the effort.
Well,
We're really happy you've gotten this far. We'll help you get the rest of the way.
well, good, because we've got that cash bash, June 6th, and we've got a couple other fundraisers that we're working on too. So, thank you very much.
Nice work, everybody, really appreciate it. It's amazing what's happening in the community, you know.
So as far as action, Mary's going to get a hold of Rick Waring and see if he can collaborate with Mike Jones to start getting a bid packet put together.
So I will send an email to all three of you after I talk to him,
Okay,
okay?
okay. We can start making this happen. All right, moving on, local options tax. Do we have select board comments first?
I've got a comment. I just want to let everybody know on the board and anybody that's watching, I answered a question at the informational meeting incorrectly. A local business owner asked if boats would be excluded from the local option tax. And the reading that I had done prior to that meeting, I was under the impression that they were excluded. The next morning I went back and I just was gonna get that information so I could provide it to them. And I was getting some contradicting information, so I reached out to the tax department and come to find out that motor vehicles are excluded from the 1% local options tax, but boats are not. So I reached back out to the business owner and informed them. I did put a post on Front Porch Forum explaining that boats aren't covered, and that was my error. I misread it. I found two contradicting things. I just screwed that one up. So.
Well, thank you for clarifying it. Anything else from the board on the local options tax before I ask the public?
I really like this handout from Morristown. I think it explains it really, really well. And I would like to see us copy this and post it on, I want to have a conversation about this later, but on the town's Facebook page and Front Porch Forum. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Absolutely. I do have another comment too when Mark's done.
That's it. They do a really nice job of explaining this, and I think it would be helpful.
I kind of like their policy, not that we need to write another policy, but their policy on what to do with it. It's pretty much in line with what we plan on doing. If this passes and we start realizing revenue, that we're going to be using it to fund reserve accounts and reduce the amount we have to raise by taxes. That's the whole point here, is to not increase the spending, but to reduce the amount that's raised by taxes.
Or even, Rob, did you initially send a text that had a summary of this? Who sent that out?
I don't remember. I'm sure I sent.
Of Morrisville's or Morristown's?
I think it was Morrisville, not Morristown.
I sent a couple of them out this week, so.
Yeah,
That was really short, too, you know. We could publish this, how many people will take the time to read it? You know, people like to read something that's less than 15 seconds, and that synopsis that you had sent out was really good.
I think that the biggest takeaway, I've been talking to a lot of people this week, and I've been on this local option tax thing since our public meeting, because I felt terrible after saying the wrong thing. Either way, it's been killing me all week, but I think that, you know, what I've heard is people don't want another tax. That's like one of the biggest things. No more taxes. We don't want another tax. We're taxed to death. And I agree. I don't want to pay any more taxes on anything. I don't want another tax. Anybody knows me that knows I'm as cheap as it can possibly get. I don't want to pay any more. You know, my mom will vouch for you on that. I don't want to pay any more. And when I started looking at the local option tax thing, I was opposed to it every time I saw it come up anywhere. I was absolutely not. I will never vote yes on that. 100% not going to do that. No more taxes. Just like all the complaints that I've seen or all the stuff that I've heard against it. I kept seeing all these articles pop up on local options tax, and right now there's 20 towns that are voting on it this town meeting day. 20 towns are looking at implementing it this time around. 52 towns already have some sort of that 1% option tax, whether it be all three of our articles or one of them or two of them. In some combination, there's currently 52 towns. So I decided I probably should look into it and at least see what I'm against here. And then I saw Fairhaven was claiming $450,000 they thought they could get. And I thought, well, that's a lot of money, but I still don't want any new taxes. When I got to looking at like what we could make, I kind of looked through the tax department thing, and I came up with $266,000 and change without alcohol. And I thought, wow, that's a pretty good amount of money. That's just about what we have in reserves right now. So I reached out to Brandon and St. Albans, I think it was, because they're similar towns in population, definitely different towns in statute. And I asked, I said, have you had any complaints from any of your businesses about lost business, anything like that since this took place? And they said, no, absolutely not. This is a no-brainer. You should be doing this. And I still wasn't sold on it because I don't want to pay any more taxes. Plain and simple, I don't want to pay any more taxes. But I figured if we could take that money that we could raise from, $300,000, we'll call it, because I think it's probably going to be at least that. But I can show on paper $266. So I don't want to say anything I can't show, but I'm anticipating probably $300,000. If we could take that and use it, buy down the budget isn't the correct language, but basically that's what we want to do. We want to take that $300,000, and instead of the taxpayers covering all that $300,000, we want to split that $300,000 amongst everybody that comes through town. So all the taxpayers will still be paying a part of it, but not all of it like they would be if it gets voted no, if I'm explaining that correctly. Mm-hmm. And to me, that's not another tax. I mean, technically it's another tax, but to me, it's taking a tax kind of away, I guess, to really muddle my words up here. At the end of the day, I think it's going to save the taxpayers of the town of Castleton money when it comes time to paying property taxes. On a year like this year, that money would have covered the entire budget increase, and then some, and then another $30,000. So instead of it being $4.5 million, where we're asking the town for $3.5, I guess I'll back up. Our budget is, I'm just going to throw round numbers out there. Let's say $4.5 million. What we ask from the taxpayers isn't $4.5 million. It's only $3.5 because that budget doesn't show the revenue that comes in. So if we can take that $3.5 million that we're asking from all of you and subtract that $300,000, that's less that we have to ask when we collect the property taxes. And that money will be split amongst everybody that uses the town. And from my own personal business, 95% of my customers aren't residents of the town of Castleton. In my opinion, if you drive through town in the summertime at any of the businesses in town, most of the license plates aren't green. And that's money that we would not be paying. That 1% they would be covering. Part of, not all of, because we still shop in town. But that's my opinion on that. A couple of the things that I've heard from complaints from business owners is concerns that they're going to lose business. People are going to go elsewhere because the final cost, once you add the tax in, will be a little bit more. I don't know anybody that boycotts Rutland or Rutland City, and they're 7% with the local option tax. I know I shop there. I shop in Brandon. I shop in Middlebury. I go to LaValley's. I go to Tractor Supply. I go to Queensbury to buy stuff. They're 7%. Glens Falls is 8%. I just don't see that 1% as stopping people from making purchases in our town. And another issue that I've heard is point of sale systems. People are concerned about the cost of changing their point of sale systems from 6% to 7%. I don't have a point of sale system in my business. I have a cash register. It's easy for me. We're considering going to a point of sale system just because we have to make a change anyway. But from the reading that I've done, it's not that much of a challenge. I can't personally speak for it, but it seems like it's go into a menu and change some stuff around. They may have to hire somebody to do that, so it may cost the businesses a little bit of money. Another concern I've had is with deliveries and tracking orders, where they're concerned that if they deliver to a town that doesn't have the local options tax, now they're gonna have to start tracking where all their deliveries are. And I think that's another issue where maybe the tax department in the state of Vermont hasn't been very clear, because the local option tax is a destination-based tax. So even currently, right now, if you're a business in the town of Castleton and you make a delivery to Rutland, or you make a delivery to Brandon, or a delivery to Middlebury, you're required to collect that local options tax for the town where the item landed. So in theory, you really need to be tracking the orders now, because if I sold somebody a fishing shanty, they couldn't fit it in their car, and I needed to deliver it to their home in Brandon, I need to collect that 1% tax. And I don't think the tax department has put out enough information on that, because I certainly didn't know it until I started digging through all this stuff. So there may be other businesses that don't currently know that. But that's the case with deliveries. I believe that they should be being tracked now. If Castleton doesn't pass it, and Fairhaven passes it, and Paul's Pizza delivers a pizza to Fairhaven, they have to collect that 1% local option tax, because that pizza is landing in Fairhaven. And Fairhaven would get that 1%. So those are the main concerns that I've heard from the businesses around, and all I've heard from taxpayers is we don't want another tax. And I explained what I thought of that already, so that's the best I can do it. I was gonna write it down because I'm terrible at keeping my thoughts straight, but
You did fine.
I figured I'd wing it, and to be honest with you, I'm a little overwhelmed with all the stuff that I've been reading, so there's just been so much stuff that there's
You've done a good job.
a ton of information on it, and I really think that at the bare minimum, as a select board here, we owed it to the residents of the town of Castleton to give them that option to do that. You guys can all go do all the reading, all the research that you want. If everybody votes no, everything just stays the same as it is now. Nothing changes, and we just roll on the way it is. But I would just ask that everybody tries to do some research on their own on the local option tax. I think it'll work. And I think as far as a policy, I think we do need to create a policy of where the money goes, because if we have a change in town manager and there's no policy, that new town manager could decide to put it where they want. Or if we have a total change of the select board, that select board could decide to put it in a different spot. And in order to change that policy, it would have to come to a warned public meeting where the taxpayers would be able to voice their concerns on changing where that money goes. Because I certainly don't want it to go anywhere but back into the current budget. I don't want it as an add-on to say, we need what we're asking plus more.
I like this tax because to me it's more of a luxury tax than property tax. You know, there are people in the community right now that are struggling to pay their property tax. But you need a home, you can't give that up. And this offers a little property tax relief because we're gonna say, we're gonna tax the consumables that you buy. Nobody needs a fishing shanty. If they decide that's a luxury, they're gonna pay a little tax on that. So the person who's already struggling paying their property tax doesn't have to pay any more. And you don't pay it on food, you pay it on consumable goods. So essentially, I'm saying that the people that have the ability to pay will pay more because they consume more. Also, so much of what we consume right now is delivered by Amazon or other out-of-state retailers. You know, it's not like we're buying from a store in town that is contributing with property tax. Every day there's 10 or 12, I'm gonna call them all Amazon trucks, but delivery trucks that are using the highways in our town. We plow the roads for them, we fix the potholes for them, and they don't contribute anything. And this is a way to collect some of that tax. So it's a user tax, you know, that everybody that uses the roads would contribute towards the upkeep.
You know, there's people in the community that don't own a car and are pretty much shut in, but their property taxes are paying for the roads. That's less fair to me than to say, hey, these Amazon sales need to contribute to road maintenance. I kind of like the idea of if this were to pass, that all the money would go towards paving. Because I think it's really easy to make a direct correlation to it. We're saying that everybody that is paying this 1% local option tax used the road that day. Whether it was to go buy something or to have it delivered, they used the road. So to me, I could draw a real close line from this tax to road maintenance. And as we know, the cost of paving has tripled in recent years. So our budget, whereby we paved the road every 8 years, now lets us repave that road every 24 years, and that just isn't gonna work. Just my two cents there.
I love the way you guys explained it. I just wish there was somehow to figure out, now, I'm for the local option tax. What we collect with the option tax over here comes off the tax rate or whatever you said, Rob. I just wish there was a.
I'm prepared to explain that.
Okay.
So-
What I wanted to know is, I don't know if there's any way you could tell what 50% of the outside people contributed to that $300,000. And the other 50% obviously are taxpayers. That's 50% of the 300,000 over here. Taxpayers aren't responsible for. This is a no-brainer to me.
I can tell you from the numbers that I got off of this tax website, roughly double the amount of money is spent in Castleton during the summer than is spent any other time.
So that's outside people. That's outside people.
I can't guarantee that, but that would be my opinion.
This would be really hard to quantify, but I think it's safe to say that a good share of that 300,000 that you're forecasting would come from non-residents.
Like I said, just through my own personal business, 95% are not Castleton residents, and there's days when 100% are New York State residents, so.
Anything more about?
No, that's,
Mary Lee, you have anything before I throw out a couple things?
No, I'm for it.
Okay, so, if we're guessing that it's 300,000, and that's probably a conservative guess.
That's without alcohol.
It's certainly not it's certainly not optimistic.
266 and change is what I can show on paper from the tax website without alcohol sales. In talking with Brandon and the other ones, they said that the numbers that the tax department gives from what they've experienced are light.
So I'm going to use 300,000 for a working number.
I think it's a safe, easy number to use.
Right now, a penny on the tax rate realizes about $40,000 in income, in revenue. Is that correct still? So we're looking at 30 divided by 4 is a number. What is that number? I don't remember. I didn't do the math.
7.5. 7.5.
So it's going to take 7 cents off the tax rate? Is that right?
That equals almost $300,000.
Well, hang on.
Take 7.5 off the tax rate?
Let me double check this. Yeah, 7.5 cents off the tax rate. So that would mean take the tax rate from 0.38 to 0.305. So that's going to roughly cut the municipal tax rate by 25%. Now, that doesn't cut your real estate taxes by 25% because 80% of your real estate tax is education. But what it will do is it will take, for if you have a $250,000 house, it will take approximately $200 a year off your tax bill. Not a big deal, but it's still $200.
But if you look at it at the fact of how much you would have to spend on taxable items in the town of Castleton to equal that $200, you would have to spend $20,000 on taxable items in the town of Castleton to match that $200.
Right.
I don't spend $20,000 a year on taxable items in the town of Castleton.
Nor do I. So the bottom line is it will provide some property tax relief as long as this board is committed to not increasing spending. And I think your comment about needing a policy is probably, I hadn't thought it through as well as perhaps I could have. And I'd say you're spot on.
Without a doubt,
We need to work that out, too.
We need to make
because
sure that it goes into not increase the taxpayers.
This board is committed to doing that, and this board won't change for this year, but 5 years down the road, there may be a totally different group of people here, and they may not have the same feelings we do. So we need to make sure that the town has the ability to control that.
And on that, if down the road, if it does pass, and the taxpayers decide that it's not going in the direction that they'd like, they can submit a petition, and it can go back for revote. It's not set in stone. It can go back to the taxpayers at any election time, or a special election, should we choose to go back for a revote, to either do away with it or to continue with it.
Okay, I think we've pretty well beat this as a board. Is any comments from the audience or on Zoom about this?
Joe Iderola, 92 Old Town Road. A tax is a tax, and that's what I think people are upset about. And so, personally, I'm opposed to it, and I understand the logic behind it, but you're asking in this year's budget for a 5.6% increase in spending, which is a 4.5% increase in tax rate. And I understand that you're trying to rationalize that this will offset that, but you're already asking to increase our taxes again. There's been a significant increase in school taxes in the last 5 years. In the last 5 years, school taxes in our district have gone up by $2 million. Almost 50% of that is borne by the residents of Castleton, right? You talk about outside people coming in, and those are the people who are going to pay the tax. People who own residence in this town that aren't homesteaders, their tax rate, their school tax rate's 26% higher than residents. So they're already paying a significant portion of taxes for their property. As many of you know, there's a credit for municipal and education taxes. In the last 5 years, that credit has been going down because incomes have gone up and values have gone up. In Castleton, the number of recipients has dropped by 16.5%, and the value of those credits have gone down by 23%. And that doesn't take into consideration the reassessment that just occurred. And those people won't see the effect until they file their income taxes. And it's like a stealth increase for those people. So people are being taxed to death in this state, and people are not understanding that. That's the basic message. No more taxes. The other thing I want to raise is that the state is considering adding a local option tax on gasoline and diesel, right? These are all gateway taxes, in my opinion, because they're just an opportunity. How do you know the state says instead of a 1% tax, you can have a 2% tax? Next year, it's 2%. So it's the opportunity for additional revenue without looking at where we can get real savings out of our system. So I understand the logic, I understand the rationale, but I think a lot of people just feel like no more taxes, enough is enough. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
I will say that Stowe, you said 2%. Stowe is actually voting on going to a 2% local option tax
I didn't
right
even know that
now.
was available. I thought the 1%.
I didn't either until I read it today, actually.
Interesting. Thank you.
Yep.
Joe, I can tell you, we're not in love with the idea of taxes either.
Yeah.
But to sit and look at the costs of running a municipality,
Yep.
they're just crazy. I brought up the paving because that, to me, is really the most distressing one that, for years, we've been on this, a road needs to get repaved every 8 years, and now we're faced with, we can only do it 24. They just don't last that long.
But you're talking about using this to offset the tax rate, not to put into a budget, into a fund to fund the road.
We have a fund currently, we have reserve funds for highway equipment, paving, and that. And that's what we want to use the 1% funds for, is to go into the budget for those reserve funds.
We have been gradually increasing all our reserve accounts, including paving, but the price of paving is very much outstripping our ability to increase the paving fund. So we used to be able to pave 3 miles a year. We have 30 miles of road we wanted to pave every 10 years. 8 is ideal, but 10 was more realistic, and we were achieving that for quite a few years. Now the price of paving has gotten to the point where our paving fund does 1.8 miles. So that's where Mark gets his 24 years from, and it's just not sustainable. So we have increased the paving fund, but we can't increase it 25% every year. It's just not sustainable. So that's one of the reasons we have Article 52 for $75,000, because that'll get us another, not quite half a mile, 3/8 of a mile, which still gets us closer to it doesn't get us to 3 miles, but it gets us closer. And if you really want an eye-opening, set for a year on this board. And it really, the trials and tribulations for running a municipality without hitting the taxpayers up any more than we absolutely have to is a struggle, which I'm sure that Mark and Rob can, Bob and I have been on it for years, Mary Lee's been on for a few years, and these two guys are starting their 3rd year, and you really get it now, don't you?
Yeah, it's just tough. We don't like the idea of the tax either. But it just feels like, we're putting it all on property owners. It doesn't feel like it, that's what we're doing. It all goes to property owners. And I guess that's as fair a way as the system is, but it isn't fair when you look at the discrepancy of income amongst property owners. Everybody has to have a house. You can't hope, God forbid anybody lives on the street, but some people are living in their house and barely keeping it. Some people are living in a nicer house and they have more disposable income and they're spending it. And it just seems like that would be a little bit fairer way, would be to tap into that discretionary income and give a little relief to the property owners.
Are you aware of this phenomenon that's going on with the credits that people get for education and municipal taxes? There are thresholds of income and value that haven't been inflation adjusted. So particularly as properties are revalued, fewer and fewer people are going to qualify for those credits. That is likely going to wipe out any relief they're going to get in lowering the tax rate, because it's like a stealth tax increase. You don't see that until you file your income tax, and it's a year in arrears. So that trend has been, as I pointed out, you can look at the statistics, has been continuing. And with the reassessment we went through last year, people aren't going to see that effect until they file their taxes for next year. So there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that are going to affect taxpayers that they're not even aware of yet.
Right. Montpelier has a lot of work to do. They're not going in the right direction.
Yeah.
I just want to, it's so discouraging to me that, I'm not saying that you folks are hammering on us. We're 20% of your total taxes. Everything you spoke to, Joe, and I apologize for calling you the first name, I can't even begin to pronounce your last name, was education. We can't do nothing about that.
But that's
80%.
Right, but that's the problem, is that's where people are feeling most of the pain. And unfortunately, the frustration comes out not only on the school board, but in these municipal meetings, because we get the whole burden, right? You get it too.
I understand.
No, and I hear you.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's 80% over here that we're all getting hammered by.
Yeah, I know.
And we're trying to control the 20% of the town, and the town is coming to us and saying, lower that 20%, lower that 20%. So what are we gonna do? Hand it to the education department so they're at 85 and we're at 15? We're getting killed. We're getting killed. It's so frustrating to me.
You don't even get 20% because you got to pay the county tax.
Yeah.
So we give that back to them too.
It works out where actually it's 18%, but we use 20 as a round number. Anything else from the audience or Zoom before we move on? All right, we're going to move on.
I just want to say thank you for your comments, because we generally don't get a whole lot of comments at our meetings, so I really appreciate
your perspective.
I really appreciate it.
That was great, all that information. I appreciate that too.
And a constructive, lively dialogue is always welcome. Okay, we're going to move on. Chief Goyette, you're up. You still here, chief?
I'm here.
The agenda. I had it in here. I can't find it now.
We can share mine if you need it.
Well, I just, yeah, if we can just lay it here in the middle, Dick, and...
I'm sure you have one.
Anyway, oh, it was in here. I saw it.
Heath, you want to use my written copy?
Yeah, you got it.
Put it under here.
I didn't go to the office. So, as far as the equipment goes, the pickup is now, all the lights, the arrow stick and all that stuff has been completed by Adirondack two-way radio, so that's all up and in service. Our guys are just starting into the first stages of Fire 2 and feedback from them. This is a little different. It's not so much the tactical part of the firefighting, it's more of the pre-planning, the what are you gonna do if you got this situation type stuff. It's more of the thinking part of it and not just the putting the stuff on and going inside the building. That's the feedback I'm getting from my Fire 1, Fire 2, or my Fire 2 people. As you can see, 17 calls for the month. One chimney fire, 6 motor vehicle accidents, and we all know what we've had for weather lately, so that just accounts for some of them, and some of it is, you also see on Pete's report where somebody was not doing what they should be. So, and the other one, alarm activations, again, is right up there on top of our list. Couple mutual aid calls, went to Hubbardton once to assist with the chimney fire, and then the big structure fire on West Street in Fairhaven. That's about what we did for the month.
Heath, on this report, do you have that percentage that you kind of hit us with the last time, that 22% of your calls are to the university? Is that on here anywhere?
That's not in part of this. Dick had asked for it, what the percentage was. That's the 22% was from December of the year before, the percentage from the year before.
Okay.
But you can see 5 of them this month, 5 out of 17 were alarm activations, and I believe all 5 of them were at the college.
The college.
That's what your description says.
2 of them were actually something going on, because they were the nights it was 30 below, they had a broken steam pipe in the science lab, and the guys got there, and the science lab's all full of steam, and Danny's like, what are we gonna do? Because is it really just steam, or is there something going on in the science lab? So it took a few minutes of testing and metering to decide. And then somebody at some point in time had helped me on one of the windows, so the steam had highlighted it, so they were really nervous for a few minutes. But unfortunately, it was just a practical joke that really caught somebody's attention when we were there, and it was all steamed up. But it was a broken steam. Them 2 mornings, it was 30 below. Two mornings in a row, they had different broken steam pipes in that building, the Black Science Center there.
We had that in Jeffords a few years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah. But this one was that room that's all locked up and has all the hazard material stickers all over it. That's where it was this time, so it was a little more of a, oh my.
Chief, I'm pretty happy to see all the equipment is fully operational.
Yep.
I know there was a time when there were some issues there, so thank you for getting that done. I appreciate it. Is there anything that we can do to help you?
Right now, nope, it seems like we're just moving forward. We're gonna, as time allows, we'll start picking off, getting some more stuff done on that enclosed trailer. We've got some pieces and parts come in, some of it's on, and it's just when we get that extra volunteer hours to finish putting it together, so.
So is the trailer battle ready now?
The trailer is not. There's pieces that just come in to finish plumbing the cascade system, and the straps are all on the floor to put the UTV in it, but like I said, we've got a few more pieces laying on the floor. We've got to take time to bolt into it, so.
Is that trailer lettered yet?
No, there's no lettering done on any of the new pieces.
What's your plan on that?
Springtime, and when we see where the budget stands, if we've got money in the budget to get it done, because that's going to be, that may have to be after July 1st when there's money left in the budget, so I'm not in the red.
I understand.
That's probably going to be expensive between the three of them.
And engine 6's replacement is, what's the schedule on that? I don't recall.
They were supposed to get a hold of me at the end of January where it was going to be in the queue to go in to start manufacturing, and they haven't rigged back out. I know they've had some trouble at their factory because Fairhaven's engine is being built out the same factory, and it's behind there, so we might, originally it was April, May when we were going to see it, so, and which would be fine with me because it's a lot more conducive to getting out training with it than this time of year.
So at this point, your best guess is sometime this summer?
Sometime, I'm hoping early summer we'll have that truck will be here.
Okay.
Can you explain to me, maybe I should know, you got firefighter, firefighter 1 and firefighter 2. What can one do that, or two do that the others can't do?
It's just a level of training that the state and some of it's federal oriented, and what the level of training they can do that they have. It's like a level of training, like I was just saying, the firefighter 1 is really based on how you put your gear on, how you attack a fire and this firefighter 2 are training the guys to go, like I went down with a class last week in Gilmore's new building. They went through the building, and this is where the spray paint is, this is where the paints are, so we know where the fire hydrants are, so they're like pre-planning and stuff like that, where stuff is in a building. That's the kind of stuff they learn through the firefighter 2 program.
Thank you.
And a firefighter, just straight firefighter, are probably somebody that don't have the statewide training, that's been trained in-house or through experience.
Thank you very much.
I gave him my report, so I don't know how to look at it, but is the volunteer hours on there?
Not on this one.
No. I do see we have some new volunteers, so I'm excited about that.
Yeah, we have one new one, Hans Peters from up on Barker Hill Road. A gentleman that retired and moved up here from, it says New Jersey, but it's technically Connecticut. He moved up here from, come down and was gonna do fire police with us, but is really happy to be back because he had some fire experience from down there quite a few years, and he's gonna start doing his training. He wants to be a truck driver for us during the day.
Nice.
Which would be a big help.
That is awesome.
And we've got a couple new ones moved back in town that used to be ones that we're gonna interview this month that should give us a real good boost.
Good.
Well, extend our thanks to your crew. You do a great job, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chief Mantello, you're up. Found your agenda yet?
Oh, no.
Don't stop looking.
Yeah, I gotta give up.
Hard to follow that group with taxes. Nobody wants to talk about those. All right,
Still in my folder.
talk about the service calls for January. Even though we were down by 30, I think, totally. Yeah, roughly 28. Had a little bit more accidents, property damage, had a little more citizen assist, almost double that. Everything else kind of equals out. Believe it or not, we had 9 parking complaints. That's probably the winter parking. I know that we had issued a few tickets for that. Some cars were moved. And the 17 bin inspections, which is a lot for a month that we do. We're starting to get more and more as the summer, the weather hits, even though we haven't seen it yet. But that will go up. Any questions on the calls of service? All right, criminal arrest. We only had 2 last month. We have about 5 pending cases right now that we're trying to locate people. Seems to be the thing. Last week, even though it wasn't January, really had some huge things go on. We had an aggravated assault where we had one of the officers had to apply for a arrest warrant, but that person's in hiding, so that one is loose somewhere. Not in this town. We've got, I think I mentioned to a few people that another big case I'm working on for a business owner on an embezzlement. So there's probably about 5 cases out there that are taking time to locate people. So that's that. Traffic violations, wintertime, that doesn't surprise me. This has been a really snowy time. So we're way down on those. Calls of service, we had 0 in January because they were on break for the most of it. Backup provided by us. There's a total of 4, 3 to Fairhaven, 1 to Pulteney, which was VSP, and then none provided to us in January.
Any transient problems?
I haven't seen any. No, I have not seen any. Wintertime are usually, wherever they are, they're hunkered down. You know, not the time to be walking around. We haven't had a lot of, I'm trying to see, what do we have for suspicious people? Well, we still had 29.
So do most of those turn out to be suspicious people, or just someone that?
Well, it covers a variety of things, so either people or circumstances. So someone will call, they think somebody's in a house that's not supposed to be there. Turns out they got somebody checking on it, or it could be people walking in an area, or a car sitting idle on a road somewhere, or stuff like that. It's a variety of things. That covers quite a bit. We always do a lot of those a month. That's just something that's, and as it gets warmer, that will increase. Because that was one of our top growing categories from 21. We had like an 88% increase for a year. I mean, if you remember on the meeting. So that's kind of up and down. We did have the big event this Saturday night on a missing person. A couple officers actually had 2 events go on that night. They were able to secure a resident that has some mental health issues that had basically been committing unlawful mischief or vandalism to houses out on the lake. The houses that he got caught, the person got caught smashing were in Hubbardton, actually, down Jason Way. So he was arrested by state police, and when that was going on, they get a call from an elderly gentleman that lives on Johnson Spooner that usually takes a walk down Jason Way and just got lost. So a couple of my officers went out there about 7.5 miles one way, found him, found a cabin where adjacent to the area where he was located, started a fire from the wood on their deck to keep him warm. They had 2 go bags, candy, bars, water. They had flashlights, and then fire department came out with the quad. First time. I think it's the first time we used it for a recovery, actually. And then the game warden came out with a snowmobile. That's something Justin and I talked about today. This is the first winter, I think, since I've been here that snowmobiles are running around. I mean, I haven't seen snow like this since I've been here. I've been here since 14, so this is like a lot of snow. So if we didn't have that, that may not have been a possibility to get that person.
This person ended up 7.5 miles out
Yeah.
from the road?
From the road. So, and Hubbardton side, actually. So if you go down, you know where Jason Way is?
I do.
That dead ends, and it goes off way up.
Wow.
Person needs some medical attention, obviously. They're home. We talked to the person today. Didn't recognize the officer's voice. I was talking to him, but so hopefully that won't happen again. But he says, "Oh no, I'm probably going to continue taking my walks." But we haven't talked to his wife about that yet. So that was busy. So it was a busy week last week, and that's kind of crazy. So I am probably going to put in for a commendation for those officers. We are going to have an after-action review probably after the vote next week. Go over some protocols and things that we could do better. And I gave Dick a little, now I only gave it to him, this thing here, it's basically our 10-year service call trend from 2014 to 2025. So if you all want it, I can email you a copy of it. Dick asked that I change the X and Y axis for information. I'll try that, see what that looks like. These are the years. This is the amount of service calls. I'm just going to switch it. Let's see how that looks too.
I think it'll illustrate it a lot better if you've got
That's fine. I can
the
do
volume
that.
on the x-axis and the years on the y-axis.
And the other thing, I know I made copies for all of you, just information stuff. I mean, obviously our budget went up, so it's just stuff that I had put together and I talked about, but I don't think anybody actually got a copy of them besides.
I made everybody copies.
Yeah, but did you make them?
Yeah, I did that the other day.
Yep.
All right.
We got them already? I think we got them already.
Well, you don't, but the rest of us do.
I put one in your mailbox, I know that much, Bob.
You want one, Mike?
This is it right here you're talking about.
Yeah, I've got one of those
Okay.
here.
So,
Nobody asked me for a copy.
Chief, if you could email me that graph, I'd appreciate it.
absolutely.
When you get it done.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll get it to you this week. Other than that, that's it. Naj was off last week, so he'll be back this week. He's kind of taking a maternity leave, helping his wife out and his 2 kids, a newborn, and so he'll be back this week, and maybe next week he'll take off. So we've kind of, I mean, he's taking sick time, so it's not like he's getting paid anything extra. So, any questions on the report or anything else?
Mike, do you have something you would like to add?
Yeah, if I could. So, Chief explained most of it, of the incident with the 73-year-old male that was lost around the Float Bridge area and our officers. And I think one of the things that is not part of this narrative or story is how many police officers would be thinking about, do we need a search and rescue bag? You know, it's not a standard thing in a cruiser. And chief's officers on their own, just Avery's the one I was told brought it to Justin's attention, but they created these search and rescue bags, and they took it on that call with them. And that had this fire starters and glow sticks and food and all that stuff that Chief had already mentioned. And that was instrumental in being able to start that fire and get the guy warm when he was soaking wet and cold. And one of the things that they were able to do by stopping is they didn't have to evacuate him any farther than that. They were able to stop, get the situation stabilized, and the fire department and the game wardens, the game warden, were coming. So they had the side-by-side, which was instrumental, I guess, in moving him out. So they had to haul him out or walk him out the rest of the way. So it could have, if they had to, he could have been even more hypothermic because they had a long hike in there. And they're already wet. So I said, you know, when people think about our police officers, the image conjured up in their mind is not one of search and rescue, but this proves hiring quality and compassionate police officers is good for the community and well worth the money we invest in them. We are lucky to have a group of dedicated fire, police, and first responders to serve the residents of this community, which is again proven on a cold and wet Saturday night in the wooded area near Float Bridge. So it doesn't happen very often in our community, and I think Chief's on the right path there to have them recognized. Because I got a phone call today from Channel 3, and I thought that's what it was about, and it was about Buddy Taggart.
Oh, yeah.
And so I didn't know about that, so I got educated on that, and the gentleman I was talking to from Channel 3 said, I'm going to pass this on to the correspondent in Rutland, because I think this is a great story to follow up on. So I told Chief, I said, expect probably a phone call from Channel 3 as well.
Well, the other thing too, because actually the SAR background is really, comes out of Avery. She was on a team for years before she got into policing. So she also has a tracking dog that we have access to. So there's a couple things. And actually, in the last year, we've had 4 incidences where we've had to find people. We had the one in 4A. We had the one recently where the guy was found in Pulteney but was pinging in Castleton. We've had this one, and there's one more. Glen Lake, yes. Glen Lake. So we've had 4 within a year.
This one could have been really dangerous with the
Oh,
weather.
this is in nighttime? Doing land nav on that? That's another thing. We're gonna get we're gonna get a topographical map for this area, which we don't have.
I ordered some.
Did you order some?
Yeah, for the EOC.
I mean, that's something that, we talked about the go bag, like, batteries don't last long in cold weather. Phone batteries, lights, flashlights, they gotta have a compass. Most of us have been in the military, done land nav for a lot of years, so that's something that, we rely so much on electronics that we forget the basics. Terrain association, if you look at a map and you can see the contour lines and how to, okay, we know this has got depression because of, the symbols or whatever. So those are things that I think, we'll get some education on it. We're gonna work.
There's some excellent apps for $9 a year that show all the topography.
We use Onyx, which is the one.
That's a really good one,
Which
yeah.
is the one that Fish and Wildlife uses.
Yeah.
Which is a great one. The problem using the GPS system, we're trying to ping somebody. This is the first one when Avery had contacted the SRO lieutenant, and they pinged and they found, they had a pretty good position where he was located from his phone. Most of the time, they're way off, because it depends how close the next tower is. And it'll throw way off. This is what happened, the one in Pulteney, the one by Pulteney, it kept bringing in down on 4A down in Hydeville. Well, they looked everywhere. We went down where the new construction is, down where Joe Howard's, those houses down there, to everywhere you couldn't. And then finally, if it wasn't for somebody that happened to see this car go by his house on down in Pulteney, which he was found way down there, and he came from Granville in a car. And just, he had significant onset of dementia going on. They had no idea where he was. So those are the things that concern me, especially what we're seeing with that population.
Well, make sure your 2 officers get a firm handshake and a hearty well done.
Oh, yeah.
They definitely saved a life.
Yep, absolutely.
They made a difference. That's always important.
You had to convince the fire department, because when they pull up, they're all next to a fire with their feet out, being warm. Fire department's like, what's going on? Where's the marshmallows?
Yeah, we said we're gonna get some frozen hot dogs and the cold packs. All right, is that it?
That's
Do
it.
wanna go
Thank you,
over
Chief.
The licenses?
Whoever the what?
The liquor stuff.
Yeah, because I have the violations for those stores.
Oh,
You may
yeah.
want to hang out for that.
Yeah.
But we're going to change agenda topics.
No, okay. Is that next?
Yes.
That's next, yep.
Tobacco license applications. Rob, do you want to go through these one line at a time? Or do we want to combine the first 3? Because that's the one with there's going to be discussion on the first one, the first 3.
Do I need to make a motion first?
Yes, before we discuss.
Make a motion to approve tobacco license application number 687632 Vista 2 Corp. DBA as Green Mountain 111. A tobacco substitute license application number 68770 for VISAT 2 Corp. doing business as Green Mountain 111, and a second-class liquor license number 68757 to VSAT 2 Corp. doing business as Green Mountain 111.
I'll second.
Okay, discussion. This is what we know as the
Jiffy Mart.
Jiffy Mart or Irving Station.
Right.
And the Jiffy Mart / Irving Station is delinquent on a couple of items. And Mike, do you want to speak to the delinquent tax and sewer bills?
Sure. So according to our records, that business was doing business in 24-25 as Midwest LLC. They still owe $30.30 in property taxes from the fourth quarter. Then they changed hands to Cadet 23 LLC in 25-26, and their sewer taxes, they're delinquent on for an amount of $2,298.15. And then currently, they're not delinquent yet, but they'll be delinquent at the end of the month if they don't pay by the end of the month for $72.93 for property. So that was the property and sewer. I spoke to the person that's buying this land. So it's currently owned by an individual named Matani, and a person named Patel has got a purchase and sales agreement on it to lease the property, not buy the property, but to lease it. I talked to Mr. Patel today, and he shared an email with me after I sent him all this stuff, and he's like, I don't own it, but I need to close on this property, so I need the stuff paid. So he sent an email, which I included in your packet, to the owner and said, you need to pay this. That was late in the day. The owner didn't show up to pay the outstanding taxes, because I let him know that this is gonna go before the select board this evening, and that they choose to not approve this, then the next meeting wouldn't even be till March 9th for it to go back before them. And he said, I understand, I understand your situation that you're in, and I'm trying to get him to pay. That was just for the taxes and the sewer, not for the hazmat.
Now let's talk about that.
So in March of 2025, there was a gasoline spill out of a truck delivering fuel there, and that response, the hazardous material response, was by the Castleton Fire Department, Castleton Police Department, the Department of Public Works, and several other fire departments. And that total, the total that they owe right now is $15,726.76. And that took, that subtracted the stuff on your paper right here, there's the yellow highlights on this. Those are items that the cleanup company gave back to the fire departments, and it wasn't through the company that owned that property, the Irving station. So they're not paying that, I guess, sounds like. It was already taken care of. So, but the $15,726.76 is the remaining balance owed by the owner of that business. And that is a statute, which is in your packet here. We can legally bill for hazardous materials under Title 20, Chapter 1, Emergency Management, statutes numbers 39. And an individual named William Sisson, environmental analyst for Agency of Natural Resources, determined that the cause of this spill was found to be on the Irving station to be the responsible party. They were originally billed, they rejected it. Officer Shreko had a conversation with them, and they basically flat out rejected it. And it's gone now almost a year unresolved. And for many months, weeks, that the open bin that was collected all the hazardous material was put into, just sat out behind that building, because no one was taking ownership of whose fault it was. So the company, the cleanup company, just kept it there, and they're like, they want to get paid. So it sat out there, and we have a state agency that says it was they're the responsible party, being the owner of that business, and now we're looking to try to collect that money from them. So that was also, Mr. Patel forwarded that to the business, or the owner of that business, so that included what you have in your packet, that extra charge at $15,000.
Has that hazardous waste been resolved, or is it still there?
No, it's been taken away. But with a multiple response by several fire departments, the police department, the DPW, and our fire department, We do this is not new. Justin usually does all the billing of the invoicing for it, and it's been successful to date, and this is the first time that we've really dragged out somebody not accepting the responsibility tagged on them. So,
Well, clearly they owe the taxes, and clearly Justin billed them correctly, and the Agency of Natural Resources found them at fault. So I think that we have to table this application until such time they're paid in full.
I don't agree.
Pardon?
I don't agree. I think we should call a vote. And I will say right now, I'm prepared to vote no. I think this board should deny the application. Put the ball back in their court and force them to take action. That's my opinion.
Instead of,
We could table it, or we could send them a message.
If we vote no on it now, are they not allowed to sell?
Correct, they can't sell alcohol or cigarettes or anything.
I think that might put some undue pressure on them.
I would not vote no on that, but I would go with tabling it until the next meeting with the caveat that if they haven't worked anything out by then, that there will be a no vote. At least I would be willing to vote no at the next meeting. But that's my opinion, but what I can do right now is withdraw my motion to approve it. And then we can make a motion to do whatever.
That seems fair. We certainly want them to do business. We want them in the town of Castleton conducting business, but they need to pay their taxes and charges and not expect that their neighbors are gonna pick that up.
Okay, so we withdraw Rob's motion. Does somebody have a motion?
Chief, are there any other violations concerning?
No, nothing on them. Zero.
I would make a motion that we table this application until the next select board meeting to give VISAT 2 Corp. The opportunity to pay the town in full, with the understanding that if that has not happened by the next select board meeting, we will hold a vote.
And that next select board meeting will be on March 9th.
I'll second that, if you're done, Mark.
Any more discussion? All in favor of Mark's motion to table?
Aye.
Motion is unanimous.
Chief, I have another question for you. When I was reading over the Department of Liquor controls regulations, and it said that these licenses have to be given to a U.S. citizen or a legal U.S. resident?
Yeah, I'm not sure what that entails.
Okay.
Typically, they have to file a W-9 saying that they're allowed to work in the United States when they start a business, but that's something that we could.
Said they either have to be a legal residence or have, a legal U.S. citizen or have legal residency like a green card. But sometimes I've noticed on these applications, it's unanswered. U.S. citizen question mark. One is no, one is yes, the next one's no.
Is that
Next
something
one's
Katrina
yes.
could answer?
Oh,
Is that something Katrina could answer?
yeah, probably. Or no, Brock is the one that's in this area, but she just happened to be in the area before, so I can reach out to him. He comes to the PD, parks his car there anyway.
Well, that's a reasonable request.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so now we can move on with the rest of these.
I would make a motion to approve a first-class restaurant bar license, application number 69770 to Lake Bombazine Hospitality LLC, doing business as Lake House Pub and Grill.
Second?
Any discussion? Y'all good with this one, Chief?
Yep, no violations.
And they're good on taxes.
And the other thing good about, remember we had the old issues with the sound thing? Right? Isn't that, we're talking about the dog here, right?
No, Lake House Pub and Grill.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, never mind.
All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye. I would make a motion to approve a third-class restaurant bar license application number 69770. What do we got here? Yeah, third class, sorry, 69770 for Lake Bombazine Hospitality LLC, doing business as Lake House Pub and Grill.
Second.
Any discussion?
Just, you have copies of the, is that number, those numbers are the same. That might be an error.
Oh, they're doubled up, yeah.
Yeah, so I,
69. Third class restaurant bar license. I will amend my motion to change the third class restaurant bar license to application number 69766 instead of 69770.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion to approve an outside consumption license application number 69769 to Lake Bombazine Hospitality LLC, doing business as Lake House Pub and Grill.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I would make a motion to approve a second-class liquor license application number 69989 to Toltec Incorporated, doing business as Beverage King Market and Deli.
Second.
they're good on their, no, you got that. They're good in their taxes.
Any
All in favor?
violations, chief?
Nope, 0.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion to approve a tobacco license application number 69994 to Toltec Incorporated, doing business as Beverage King Market and Deli.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Would
As
make-
always, I'm not gonna
One
vote for
abstention.
tobacco licenses.
Would make a motion to approve tobacco substitute endorsement license application number 69995 to Toltec Incorporated, doing business as Beverage King Market and Deli.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Abstain.
4 ayes, 1 abstention.
Would make a motion to approve second-class liquor license application number 70107 to PFB Incorporated, doing business as Pruners Market.
Second.
No
Good on
violations.
taxes.
No violations, taxes are good.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion to approve tobacco license application number 70108 to PFB Incorporated, doing business as Pruners Market.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Abstain.
Would make a motion to approve a third-class restaurant and bar license application number 70232 to the Castleton Pizza Place in Deli Incorporated, doing business as Castleton Pizza Place in Deli / Blue Cat.
Second.
All in favor?
0 violations.
Taxes are good.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And you got 3.
And we got one more here. Make a motion to approve tobacco license application number 69951 to BEEJJ Incorporated, and that is doing business as the Castleton Corners Deli.
Second.
So this one, they had an employee training violation on 1/20/26. So basically what that means is that they had an employee there that didn't go through the DLC training that any employee that employed to sell alcohol or tobacco products.
Is that the only violation in the last year that you're aware of?
That's what I'm aware of, yep.
And have they rectified that situation and trained that employee?
That I'm not sure of. I'll have to follow up on that.
Their current on this year, and they're on a payment plan for the last couple of years. They're $3,600. They pay $1,000 a month, so they should be paid off by June.
I thought our policy was to pay the latest taxes first.
Unless they, it says unless they request it.
Okay.
So this is on the tobacco license, right? That's the
This is-
number you rattled off.
Tobacco.
Yeah,
69951.
okay, you skipped the front page, but,
That's my front page, is the tobacco license.
oh, okay, well, it's not mine, but okay, okay. So we gotta do this one too
I
somehow.
probably dropped it on the floor when I stapled it.
Thanks, Mike.
Did we call a vote on that one yet?
No.
We have not. All in favor?
Aye.
Abstain.
Make a motion to approve tobacco substitute endorsement, application number 69949 to BEEJJ Incorporated, doing business as Castleton Corners Deli.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Make a motion to approve second class liquor license application number 699502 BEEJJ Incorporated, doing business as Castleton Corners Deli.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Can did you, can you read the number back again that you said?
For the last one?
I thought you said 699,502, thought you said.
69950.
Okay, thank you.
That is all the licenses for tonight. So now we're going to table the draft order, so we're gonna work on the remote work policy.
Thanks, chief.
Thanks, chief.
I'm inclined to support this as presented, Mike. I read through it and I think it's appropriate. I think it was pretty comprehensive.
I would agree. I read it all through. You can write a line for every possible scenario that's gonna come up in the workforce, and there's always gonna be one more. But what makes this work for me is it says all remote work must be authorized in advance by the town manager. That covers it all.
That gives
Yep.
him discretion to do what needs to be done.
That gives him the discretion, you know he's gonna do the right thing. If there was an extenuating circumstance where this was required, he's got the ability to do it, but as a regular course of action,
And it's also very clear that the employees cannot expect it
right, pre-authorized.
or demand it.
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah, nicely done. So I would make a motion that we accept the personnel policy, remote work policy, 26-0201 as presented by the town manager.
I'll second that.
Any more discussion? Do you have an actual copy that's got a correct date on it? You do not.
Does that have a correct date on it?
No.
What? What's on it?
Look at the adopted the 9th day of February,
Oh, from last
question
meeting.
mark 8668.
Well, here, hold on a second. What's on this one? Yeah, you're right.
I don't have a blue folder either, so.
They made some crazy mark that says adopted this 19th of February, then gibberish.
So, once you get the date amended and you have a clean copy for signature, you can circulate it among the mailboxes.
All right, thank you.
So I haven't called that question yet, correct?
Correct.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now that I looked up finally, who made the motion and seconded?
Mark made the motion, I seconded it.
Okay, thanks.
He doesn't know your voices by now.
I was focusing on other things.
Okay, let's talk about, replacing the hot water heater at the rec center.
What's wrong with the existing one, Mike?
It ruptured.
Doesn't work.
It sprung a leak. It's old. It's oil fired. So I asked Paul McClure, I said, how many gallons of fuel does this probably use per year, because it's so old that, not the newest stuff has little energy things on it. He said probably 100 gallons of fuel a year to heat that water. Because I was trying to compare it to an electric hot water heater. And he said, if you ever want to use the showers in that building, let's just say we do have a hazmat incident, we want to get people in and get them washed up. He said the electric one probably won't keep up. He said,
The electric one what?
The electric one probably would not, the 80-gallon electric would not keep up with that. So he said, I'll do what you ask, but it's probably better just to replace what's there and have the capacity in case you need it. And the price difference, it's actually lower in price. And, because the burner didn't need to be replaced, just the tank.
So this is a either or,
Yeah,
not
this-
both?
This is not both.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So the choice was doing the 80-gallon electric for $3,340, or install the new E-tank for $3,011.12.
And Paul's recommendation was to replace the tank on the existing system.
He did, because he said if you, basically because I wasn't sure if we're ever gonna use the showers in there, and this gives us the opportunity to do that if we ever needed it, and but he said they do last less time. They're commercial grade, but they're not designed to last as long as the residential hot water tank. So, but it's been in there for 20-something years, so.
The one that's in there now has been in there for 20 years. It just failed when, Mike? When it?
Yeah, Micah went down into the boiler and said, there's water on the floor. And I'm like, look around. Is it coming from the boiler, the roof, a valve, a pipe? What is it? And he said, hot water tank. I'm like, okay.
So Paul's verified.
Paul was there, and I ended up talking to Paul right immediately after, and he's like, yeah, it's the hot water tank. It hit its useful lifespan.
Based on my plumbing expertise, I would make a motion that we follow Paul's recommendation and replace the tank on the existing water heater.
For an amount of $3,011.12, Mike.
Exactly.
Yep, I'll second that.
Which includes material and labor.
Okay, good.
That's what it says, material and labor.
Yeah. I'll second it.
Any more discussion? I'll just add that we just get out of Paul's way. All in favor?
Aye.
And just, that will come out of the operating budget for the building.
Manager's report.
Don't have one to give you, but
So what you been doing, Mike?
Yeah, I know, it's kind of slacking, but I did want to address a couple things that have happened recently. The road clearing issues. Social media got wound up again about East Hubbardton Road and the lack of snow being cleared from Belgo Road north to the town line. I met with the highway foreman today. I now understand what happened, but more importantly, we talked about how we're gonna fix it so it doesn't happen in the future. And that was being addressed after he left my office to go back to the garage, and I will follow up with him tomorrow to see how that went. But it was just a lack of communication of who's doing what part of the route. Because when Mike turns on the Belgo Road and he goes up and does dirt, he doesn't do the rest of East Hubbardton Road all the way to the town line. Usually another truck is coming up behind him. So it just, one driver's gonna get assigned the whole route now. And that way we won't have to worry about who didn't do what. And
Would you please express to the highway foreman, maybe I should make sure everyone else feels this way, that it's all his responsibility.
Yeah, and which he shouldered. I mean, he said, it's all on me. He did say that. And I said, I just want to, when you leave here, I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page and that the message gets relayed to everyone else. So that was going
It's
to
great
happen.
that he takes responsibility, but what we really want is to not have to hear about it.
I don't like reading social media and people with negative comments on there about a crew that does a lot of good things, and when they screw up, it gets elevated to social media, calling everybody names to, it's just nonsense.
Right.
But that's what social media allows. Doesn't mean
Doesn't
they're
today
right.
for tomorrow.
Yeah, So that, I just wanted to bring that up in case you heard about it. And then the other thing that I'd like to readdress with the select board is, it's been really bugging me about Vermont State University at Castleton and the letter we got back from the VTSU president about giving some donations to the town for the alarm calls. And it just didn't sit well with me that there was not even a, like, hey, thank you, I know you guys are doing a great job, blah, blah. It just seemed like, nope, we don't do it for anybody else, we're not gonna set a precedence. What I would ask the select board to entertain and task me however you like to, as far as getting information on what other departments might do, is what about a policy that says, if you have so many false alarms after so many free ones, that's usually typically what happens, that we're gonna start billing for those calls. That could be one option. The other option is to continue down this path and try to strike a deal with them where they provide that donations to be used for the fire, police, and first responders, because they all go to the state campus. And this is above and beyond what pilot is. And the statement that the VTSU president made about pilot was absolutely incorrect. Pilot is not designed to pay for fire calls there. It's payment in lieu of taxes that's less than what they'd be paying if that was at a commercial or residential rate. And that's not what it's designed for. The city of Burlington responds to the University of Vermont, and they charge them. And it's a really large sum of money. And I'm not saying that that's what we're looking to do, but as I explained to the folks that I've talked to about this, when the fire department gets low numbers turnout because they're going repeatedly to fire calls that are the same dorm, the same issue, and the people respond, but there's gonna come a day where, well, Chief, did he leave already? There has been reduced people showing up, because, oh, it's another burnt popcorn call at the college, why am I getting up at 1 o'clock in the morning?
That's not new news. I've been on the fire department for 26 years, and it was that way the first year I was on, and it still is.
I've been on it too, and I've responded to those, and
I agree. I think I've read through what Burlington does with UVM, and UVM pays for fire protection, and they pay extra for these alarms.
so
And
if the board chooses to have me go off in a direction that we look at a policy, or do we continue to try to negotiate with them, and maybe, the VTSU president has resigned a while back, but he resigned a year in advance. So maybe he doesn't want to make those decisions and let the new regime, to make decisions for the new regime. I don't know. I'm not putting words in anybody's mouth on that, but something's got to give.
I think you need to pursue the fee per alarm. You know, that you get, everybody in town gets so many freebies. That's what Burlington does, I believe.
Yeah.
And after that, you pay.
It forces those businesses, or typically it's a business, that if they have faulty alarms, it forces them to address the issue and fix the stuff, because they don't want to keep paying for the alarms. But there's no repercussions, and the fire department shows up, and public safety's there, they get the kids out of the building, fire department shows up, searches the building, finds nothing, and leaves. They sign a form releasing us, basically, and nothing ever gets done about it.
We did that years ago when I was on the department. We had a particular facility in town that sometimes we'd show up to 3 times a night, and they claimed they were doing everything they could to fix it. So one night, I told the manager that no one would be allowed back in the building till the owner came and signed a release form. And he lived several miles away. In the wintertime, he came down and signed it, and I said, every time we're here, you're coming too. And the next day, they had it fixed, after months of not being able to do it.
I recall that. I think you were wearing a white hat that day.
Yeah,
Okay,
solved the issue.
anything else, Mike?
Well, does the board have a pleasure on what you want me to do?
Whatever your preference is, Mike.
I don't want it to be my preference, Bob.
No?
I think that, because if this ever comes back, I think there has to be a legislative body that makes a decision on what the policy, do you want me to pursue this, I guess is what.
I would make a motion that we ask the town manager to pursue a policy whereby the fire department bills for false alarms after 2 free ones per year, per customer.
Is that sufficient, Mike?
Well, with the university, because it's multiple buildings, is this, in this case, is it just the university, or is it like by building? Because there's some buildings that don't ever get a call, and there's some that get multiple.
You were pretty clear, per customer.
Per customer.
So, okay, I just want to verify that, because that's,
So if my business has a false alarm, you come twice for free. After that, you bill me.
I'll second that.
Same there, regardless of whether you have, if it's the house or the barn,
okay.
doesn't matter. False alarms, not trying to bill anybody, trying to make sure everybody keeps their equipment up to specs.
I'll second it.
Got it.
To be fair to the volunteers, that's really what it's about.
So that would
And
be,
if there is a problem with their fire alarm system, and maybe it won't, the next time it won't be that it keeps going off, maybe it won't go off when there actually is a problem.
Right.
So,
we also
That's
need
right.
to make sure that we define a false alarm, because a student making poor choices in burning some food is not necessarily a false alarm.
Correct.
So we'll have to figure out the guidelines there, but
But it's a start.
it's a start. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
So we got a place to start, Mike.
You got it.
Anything else for manager's report?
Unless you have anything for me.
I have nothing at this point.
Sorry, one more, let me, if I can finish. I sent this out, I put it on social media, was that meeting on the Regional Planning Commission. Did everybody get that?
Yes.
Yes.
I wanted to talk about that. Do you want me to do it during select board comments and concerns, or do you want me to do it
Doesn't
now?
matter.
I've been kind of reading a little bit of stuff on that Act 181 and this regional Tier 1B, stuff like that, and I'm not positive that I'm happy with the decision that we accepted it. I've got some concerns over, maybe not that we were misled during that meeting, but more along the lines of maybe I misunderstood exactly what it meant, because I was under the impression when we left there that the only change would be that Act 250 would be relieved in that one particular zone. And I'm concerned that there's gonna be changes to the rural, like the rural zoning and stuff like that, where I was under the impression that the town of Castleton would still hold all the zoning for everywhere else, and the only change is gonna be Act 250 relief in that one zone. From some of the stuff that I've read, I'm not positive that that's gonna be the case, and I'm not positive that in the future, because I know if I was the state, and not trying to sound like Charlie here, but that 30 by 30 and 50 by 50, this kind of gives them a pretty good roadmap where they could change some of the rural conservative definitions down the road, and we've already agreed to those mappings. You know, I did see that we have a place where we can opt out, and I did see where there was something that we have to sign for it. It just, I'm not sure I feel comfortable after some of the reading that I've done.
I'd like to add that I didn't realize, and I think I understand the map, that I can't ever develop my land. It has to say agriculture forever.
Because you're, can we say it? Because you're in current use, is that?
I am in current use,
Is that what
yes.
caused the issue?
No,
No? Okay,
I don't
share
think
those
so.
same
Not the way I
okay.
read it.
The 17th, they're open, the meeting, they sent it out to the select board members, so the 17th is definitely, if you guys even receive more feedback from the public, or have received feedback, that, to bring it to that meeting on the 17th, or at least have a representative to speak for the town or the select board at that meeting on the 17th, to bring these things up.
I haven't received any feedback on it from the town, but I just happened to come across some commentaries and some articles, and I looked up some stuff, and I did go to a Fish and Wildlife meeting where they talked about their 15-year plan or whatever, and there was that 30 30 by 30 and 50 by 50 for conservation. And maybe I should have looked into that a little bit further before making any decisions, but there's some stuff in the Fish and Wildlife Plan that goes along with stuff that I've seen in the Planning Commission stuff for land use and for conservation. And I'm just concerned, I don't want to lock us into something that's gonna potentially give people, that's gonna potentially take away people's right to use their property for what they want to use it for. I mean, I like the idea of the Act 250 being done away with in our areas where we could build up, but I'm concerned that what we have the potential to lose in the future isn't worth what we gain now.
I have exactly the same feelings, especially since we didn't gain anything. You know, we were supposed to, if we got tier 1B, 1B or 2B?
2B, I think. But
2B. In those areas, certain developments would have been exempted from Act 250. So it would make it easier to build housing because Vermont's so short of housing. But we're not going to get that in most areas because you have to have water, septic, and walkability. So even the piece of property on Sand Hill Road, if that was being developed into 10, 12 houses, whatever it is that triggers Act 250, that wouldn't be exempt because it's not walkable. So I don't think that we gained anything. And like Rob, I've been doing some reading on this, and I'm uncertain about this, so I want to go to this meeting, but the way I interpret part of it, any driveway or road over 800 feet would require an Act 250 permit. So in the case of your farm, if you needed to build a farm road that was over 800 feet, maybe you had a piece of property that was wet or whatever reason, you needed to build a road to it, it would require an Act 250 permit.
I think that has a lot to do with that Act 181.
I'm sorry, yeah, Act 1, that's what we're talking about.
But it all ties together into the maps and all that stuff goes together. And I don't feel comfortable that we should be changing the way the map layout is currently. I'm all for conservation. I like the state of Vermont. I like being able to drive through and see fields and see trees and not see developments on every corner. But on the other hand, we want to increase our tax base. We want to increase our tax map. And if we're limiting, you know, we have the map here. There's a lot of green on there in the town of Castleton. And that could be put for conservation in the future. And that's all stuff that's going to not be anything we can deal with. I'm just concerned. I can see where they can use these maps in the future to get their 30 by 30 and their 50 by 50, and I don't necessarily agree with 30 by 30 and 50 by 50.
Can you explain that for people that maybe don't know what that is?
The state of Vermont wants to conserve 30% of 30% of the land in the state by 2030 and 50% of the land in the state by 2050.
I'm in favor of 30 by 30. In Rutland County, we're already at 28%. I mean, we're right there. And I think there's a lot of value in conserving our natural resources. But at some point, you have to say, uncle. We still have to live here and work here and grow. So I like 30 by 30, but that's a lot. To say we're going to conserve 50% of the available space in the state, I think that's going too far. You know, there's Jim Lamey's property borders the largest lake wholly contained in the state of Vermont. I think that's a really, really valuable piece to conserve. If we're talking about conserving every farm, I don't get it.
But it's not conserving every farm. It would, from one of the articles that I read, is it would even change, like, say somebody wanted to add on to their farm or do something like that, it would limit what they can do there. I might be wrong, because like I said, I was just reading some commentaries and stuff like that, but I think we've got a problem if we let them try to dictate what we can and can't do.
Mr. Chairman, if there's meaningful conversation like that or questions, there is a link to the Rutland Regional Planning Commission site that you can do ahead of time, send it, and maybe that you might get a response back, or it gets brought up at the meeting, but that way it's on the table.
Like I said, even if it isn't the current plan right now, I'm concerned that it opens the door for down the road, because it's very easy to say, oh, no, we're not gonna do that, because that's what I would do if I was trying to do that. I would definitely be like, oh, yeah, this will be great, everything's gonna be fine, it's gonna be the same. But then down the road, be like, oh, yeah, if it's rural, whatever, then you can't do anything there. And that's just how it is.
And a lot of what I anticipated would happen after our meeting with Rutland Regional, the state board did not accept. Like, everywhere the town of Castleton wanted to be tier 2B, or at least most of it,
Most of it, yeah.
because it didn't have sidewalks.
So like I said, I believe what I had seen, I think it came through an email earlier today. There was something that talked about opting out, but there was also something else where if we had to accept it, we had to, I don't even remember, we had to sign a thing anyway, we had to write
Resolution.
a resolution, we had to sign a resolution, so.
By a certain date.
Yeah, I can tell you right now, I'm not signing a resolution. You guys can do what you want, but I won't sign it.
I won't either.
I need to read a lot more about it.
I think the problem with Act 250, at least for me, from where I stand, is I haven't had to deal with Act 250, and there's a lot of stuff to do with it. And I think until you've either gone through it, or you have to work it on a daily basis, it's gonna be just over your head. I just think there's too much there.
That's where the stuff gets snuck in, because you don't.
Well, that's what I mean, it's just,
the bill to know what's in the bill.
Act 181, I think, is 151 pages long.
And it would appear to me that Rutland Regional's interpretation of it was different, or the way they outlined it to us was not accepted by the state. So, you know, these guys are professional planners.
Because I left that meeting thinking that everything on this strip would be Act 250 exempt. We had picked out some different stuff, and that was gonna stay exactly the way it is now. Town control, everything's the same, nothing changes other than this strip, and I don't think that's the way it's gonna be.
Well, you caused me to want to take a deeper dive, which I will do.
And I think that other towns have to, I mean, if other towns aren't doing this and pushing back, then if enough, they get enough, then it goes through, and what you've said or would like to see or not see, would be just, you're like no vote. You're like, you get no vote. But hopefully the select boards and planning commissions go to that meeting, and there is a healthy discussion is had, and maybe everyone will see the same thing.
Well, you've got my attention, Rob.
For sure. Okay.
Time for some housekeeping.
Yeah, it could potentially add to a crisis of affordability too, you know. We already suffer in Castleton from a lot of state-owned property that doesn't pay property tax. You know, if you donate your farm to the Agency of Natural Resources, it comes off the property tax rolls.
Yeah, we get pilot funds for it.
It's great that it's conserved, but we don't get.
What about Jim Leamy's land that he's wildlife forever or whatever? Does that come off the tax?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I thought.
We'll get a small portion of that back as pilot money, but
So I think you have to really look and say, is it valuable to the community that this piece of land is conserved? And I would make a case for that it is, because it's public access to Lake Bomazee, of which there isn't much. But if it was a piece of land in the middle of no place.
Or the piece of land that's like out behind Kevin Egan's deer camp that isn't accessible and the state owns, Fish and Wildlife owns. Nobody can do anything with it.
Right, it's not helping the
You
community.
know, I forget how many acres it is, but we don't get taxes on that.
And nobody really gets to enjoy it.
You
couldn't
can't
say it.
enjoy it because it's landlocked by private ownership all the way around.
Right. Lose-lose situation for everybody then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll all do our homework.
I said, you got my attention, Rob. All right.
It's just, I was doing some reading on it this week and just some stuff that came through the email, and then I got thinking about some stuff that I saw at a meeting with Fish and Wildlife, and stuff was just starting to line up a little bit.
The wrong way.
Well, I could connect those dots down the line and see where it was going. All right, we on the purchase orders?
We are.
I would make a motion to approve purchase order number, what do we got here? Purchase order number 055240 to LHS Associates for election ballots for the sum of $3,011.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I gotta tell you, this one here had me really questioning it because it says total plow truck that was off the road for $14,212.
It's for the audit.
And I just asked Britt yesterday when I saw him, or whatever day it snowed last, I said, did you keep it on the road this time? And he was pretty excited, he made it through a storm, so. I would make a motion to approve purchase order number 055251 to RHR Smith and Company for the sum of $14,212.50. And that's for the retainer for the engagement fee for the fiscal year 2026 audit.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You wanna give that back to Dick?
Yep, can do.
Just so the board's aware, we're gonna have to put out an RFP for a new auditor. We're at that point, so I'll have to get that out, but we'll see how many fish bite on that worm.
We ready for purchase order, or for warrants?
Yes.
I would make a motion to approve warrant number 0220 for the sum of $20,249.85. Warrant number 0223 for the sum of $48,222.08. Warrant number 0212P for the sum of $22,512.14. And warrant number 0219P for the sum of $21,915.83.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I brought your pen, this one
Yep.
does not like the speed of my signature.
You gotta teach me how to sign, though. Envious of that, man, you're like, it's like a gunslinger, I'm over here going,
Well, I signed for hundreds of thousands of licenses in my time, probably.
Oh, God.
so.
What did it for me was being supply petty officer on a ship. And the Form 1250, I'll never forget the name of the form. Everything, a pencil eraser, a roll of toilet paper, had a form. And it was 5 copies and it wasn't carbon. You had to sign each copy.
Oh, my God.
So you signed for the 6 months I was supply petty officer, I had to sign my name thousands of times. So my signature got quicker,
Shorter and shorter, right?
quicker, I will say.
Okay.
Well, I stopped writing out Richard, stopped writing out Alan,
Yeah, yeah.
and went with RA, and then,
There you go.
so that's how it evolved, and it's been that way ever since. So you can blame the USS Alwyn for that.
I don't see it. Was it, anybody
Named.
called it a meeting, for the?
17th.
But what time was it? Was it 7 or?
Yeah, I don't
7 PM
remember.
it says. That's what it says right there. Is that it, right there? In bold?
Okay.
Yeah, it says 7 PM. The hearing will be held on March 17th, 7 PM, at the large conference room at the Rutland Regional Planning Commission office.
That's yours. Aye. That needs to
Is that what you're looking for, Larry?
Yes.
16 Evelyn Street, second floor.
John Holman got struck behind after John Holman.
Oh,
He was a crazy guy that led the sailors from the USS Constitution under the HMS Goyette in the War of 1812. Pistols and cutlasses. Yeah, he was, and they took the ship. And he died of his wounds.
That email from the gentleman at the Irving Station.
Oh, yes.
Coordinated.
Well, I've kind of got paper dumped here, so I
got a
don't
lot of
honestly
stuff
know
here,
if I
yeah.
have that or not. So we're gonna move on to the select board comments. Mary Lee, do you have any comments or concerns?
yes. Did anyone do the CHIP seminar besides me?
I did not.
I did not.
Did you receive I tried to send the slides to you. Did you receive them?
I think I did, but I haven't opened the email to look at it yet. I saw the email from you.
I think it's something we should pay close attention to. I think there's money for us through that, sewer, water, a lot of the stuff went over my head. It was an hour and a half discussion, and then half an hour of questions and answers. Some were good that I know would affect us, others I'm not sure how they would. I have printed the whole thing, which is thick. I'd be glad to give it to him to reprint for the rest of you.
Him?
Him, you sweetie. It's definitely worth looking into.
West Rutland, you know that building that West Rutland had over there, that apartment thing? That's right there.
The new one?
Right on the
Yeah, the new one
corner.
there. They started into this on that, so I don't know if anybody knows Marianne Goulet, the town manager in West Rutland,
I know of her, yes.
but, I mean, or if you know somebody else there, but I think that they're the ones in this region that started or used that, so they might be able to be of some use or valuable information if somebody's really looking for it.
I'm really getting too old for all this education, you know.
Every time something comes out in VLCC, she signs up for it.
Yeah.
She.
But I've learned a lot through them.
Yeah.
Some of them are.
Does VLCT have a speed reading
course?
course?
Have I what?
I wondered if VLCT has a speed reading course. So when you get that file, it's this thick.
That would be nice. But a lot of it's big writing to it, so.
Oh, okay.
I will look and see if I got that email and go through it
But
versus wasting
I'm
more paper and ink.
more than willing to give it to Michael Jones for copies if anyone would like them.
Thank you, Mary Lee.
I'll take a dive into that email and then I'll provide you feedback.
Okay.
Was that anything to do with $100 million that's out there for, that's exactly what you're talking about? I was informed of that we need to apply for that.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought that's what,
And it's worth for different things. I mean, there's certain things you can apply for.
yes. I was told we need to get a piece of that by a taxpayer, so I'm glad that somebody's on it.
No, I don't miss many of them, do I?
No, you're good.
I figured you were taking a first look and you would let us know if we wanted to take a deeper dive, so thank you for that.
I think you do.
Okay. Mark, or anything else, Mary Lee?
No.
Mark?
So I've been thinking about the low attendance at our informational meeting. And I'm wondering if we could be doing a better job disseminating information on Facebook. I know the town has a Facebook page, right?
I do. I use it sparingly because when they set it up, Mark, they set it up as a person, not as a business or a group. So I just get bombarded with comments. And some of them are just unnecessary. I don't really need to see negative comments, but, so I don't use it as much as, probably if I could set it up as the group or the, I forgot what it's called, but, so it's not set up as a person. But when they set it up, they didn't, probably it was new, and they didn't know what they were doing, probably, and they got it established, and it's just a pain in the rear end to see all the comments that, and I see everybody's feeds.
If what?
Oh,
See
yeah.
everybody's feeds.
Yeah, so everybody that likes or that's friends with yeah.
I see all the feeds, and I'm like, if I post something, I have to go back to the home part of it, like the symbol for the town, so I can just see what's been posted out there for the town, and see what comments were made there, but otherwise I see everybody's feeds.
Yeah, so you're getting like my race car pictures and stuff like that on there.
If we could set that up strictly as informational and not have comments or anybody's feed, I wonder if we could get greater traction in the community to disseminate information.
I would agree with that, because I know that when things are get posted, all of a sudden I see the police department shared it, the fire department shared it, Move Castleton Forward shared it, so it does get shared a lot.
So who do you think would be well suited to do that?
Whoever I hire for Christine's job. I don't know, I'd have to think about that one. I don't think there's anybody in town employment that could do that.
To change it from a private one to a,
I told you couldn't do that. We'd have to start a new one, and then we have to tell everybody that, to follow that new page. You have to somehow get a message out there to say, we've changed, switch to this one. So, I mean, it might take a while to get back up to the same amount, but it can happen.
I agree with you, Mark. It's sad the few people that came to the meeting, but that's every year.
But, I think a lot of it is that
50 on Zoom, 40.
if you could go back, 30 or 40 years ago, everybody in Rutland County read the Rutland Herald every day. All the information, if somebody was running for select board in Poultney, they had ads in there, or school board. People read the paper and digested all that information. Most people don't get the paper.
I don't get it anymore.
Very few people, there's the same, 40, 100 people that read Front Porch Forum. I don't like it, but the whole world seems to be on Facebook. So obviously where they get their news, because you go down the street and people have got 1,000,001 conspiracy theories.
But then the sad part of it is, I don't know how to do this without getting real political.
You can get political.
Okay. It'll say Trump did such and such, or Biden did such and such. They didn't.
Right. Oh, people are looking up in the air at the chemtrails now that
Yeah.
are out there.
I mean, it's,
I wonder if I called Andy Vermillier, if he would have someone at the college that would take that on as a project. Would you be up for that?
Yeah, absolutely.
switching the Facebook page over?
Well, building a new one, so we can get, because when we called, this was back when Karen Stewart was here, we looked into trying to change it, and they're like, nope, it was built as a person, you can't change it, you're going to have to build a new one, and we're at that point, we're like, so, but.
There's got to be people that are way better at it, that have experience in that, and could make it an informational page that you wouldn't comment on. You know, I see the Fairhaven Police has a page, you know, and whatever they put out, there's 200 people that have nasty comments, and I don't think we're looking for that, we're just looking to disseminate information.
Yeah, I posted on Front Porch Forum several times, this is not a two-way communication tool, this is a way to get information out to the community, you know, it's because I don't go back in there and read the bazillion comments that are on there, just.
Right.
It's a way to, just to get information out.
Okay, I'm gonna look into that.
Okay.
Thank you, because it wouldn't be very hard to find somebody more astute at it than the people in this room.
It would not be very hard,
Thanks,
no.
Dick. My wife's a Facebook master.
I'm no better at it than you are.
Oh,
I'm terrible.
Why don't you ask her about
I
it?
just
I
did.
don't do Facebook
I haven't
anymore.
heard back from her because she's probably on Facebook and not looking at her text.
The other thing I could do, I could talk to my wife too, because she does that as well, and ask her if she could.
Well, my wife runs like our business page.
Yeah.
She runs, I think my
Personal
alliance,
page.
she does my alliance page. I think she's on one of the other pages that we have.
So, yeah, if somebody wants help, I'll for it.
But you're right, Mary Lee, about.
She runs
the
my page.
misinformation.
I know,
Better
that,
off that way,
I got
right?
all my passwords, I don't know anything.
The day after
Couple times
Michaela
I thought
Schifrin
Heidi
dominated
had
the
died.
solemn, I saw a thing on my Facebook
much
feed
stuff
about how
that's not true.
disappointed she was she didn't win and got fourth place. It looked real, but I knew it wasn't.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know who's put the time into that, but they put a lot of effort into it.
Oh, yeah, the AI stuff is
It looks
insane. You
genuine, but I
can't
knew
tell
it
you can't tell what's real and what's not
I
real.
knew it
and-
wasn't true,
When the
but
lion's running next to the car and bringing the baby gazelle up in there to save it, you know,
Yeah.
that's probably AI.
Yeah, some stuff's just too far-fetched.
It's all too
all
far.
right, anything else, Mark?
baboon that.
Yes.
Or the ape
Um,
that picks up the baby.
The other thing I was wondering about is the
Robert's rules.
New books,
trailer up on the Lake Road
2 books,
So where are they?
one's at the town office in Marcus.
with the unpermitted septic.
Sorry, we're.
We call it Coon Hill, is what we call
You're
it.
talking about Coon Hill Road?
Yeah.
What about it? I'm sorry.
There's the resident, the potentially illegal residents on Coon Hill Road.
What are we doing? Where are we at with it, Mike? I use the
It's not
actual,
Coon Hill. It's on West Castleton Road.
That's what I said, and they corrected me.
I thought it was Coon Hill.
Coon Hill is the, where Tommy Dorn lives, you gotta go back to where we bought the shed for, not books, remember?
it's only 50 yards.
Yeah, it's just
past
up the road from that.
Yeah, I just call it Coon Hill because everybody knows it.
We got that letter back, I shared with you, Bob, we got the letter back that was not mailed certified to see if he accepted it. It didn't get accepted. So I talked to Pete then very next day and said, can you please reach out to him? And he said, he works right down here at Castleton Motors. So Pete was gonna reach out to him and try to get and I told him, you wanted to be there, the zoning administrator, because she leaves at the middle of the month. And I said, we gotta do this before the middle of March.
Oh, boy, okay,
She's gone for the rest of the month.
okay.
So he said he would reach out to him, but he said, I found out, he goes, he worked right down here at Castleton Motors. So he was gonna follow up and say, I told him, I said, I need you there, Pete. Bob wants to be there.
Yep, okay.
It's kind of, I'm sorry, but it's one of those fire and forgets. I'm like, okay, can you do this? And I move on, and sometimes I just need the memory jogger to say, oh, yep, I'll call him back when we get it.
Anything else?
That's all I have.
Rob?
I got it all out earlier.
I'm good.
Same here.
Yeah.
Action items. Mark and I are going to work on finalizing the memorandum of understanding for the Friends. Mike and the Friends are going to work on an RFQ for a gym floor. What else we got?
Mike and Rob and Mark are all gonna look into what we can do for a Facebook page to disseminate information.
Mark is going to look into a Facebook page. Got it.
I'm looking into it right now.
Mark and Rob are going to look into a Facebook page.
And Rob's wife.
We have two different Facebook pages, apparently.
Okay, well, let's not discuss the details tonight.
I have to do the alarm policy for calls, false alarms, for the fire department, right?
Yep. All right, so do we need an executive session?
Yes, personnel, please.
I don't have the blue folder.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Did I not bring that over?
I don't have the blue folder.
It's not under there, Dick,
It is not.
it is not.
Guy scheme texted me when I was in Wyoming. I sent him that picture. Said,
It's in the.
I got it right here in minutes.
a second later, he sent this back to me.
You're lucky.
He goes, look out.
You're lucky you didn't get attacked.
And then he goes, no, you're okay.
AI generated. Oh,
Who's
my
that from?
God.
And then a picture of me on a snowmobile, which I never was. And then a picture of me on a snowmobile with a woman.
That's even better.
And it was all
Was
It
it
wasn't
your
on the
wife?
snowmobile.
It wasn't my wife.
I was
It
going
was
to
a
say, how'd
completely
Jody feel
different
about
picture.
that?
And AI generated it, so looked just like me. Same coat.
We ready? And make a motion that we enter an executive session to discuss the, what was it, Mary Lee contract? Personnel matter under provisions of Title I, Section 313A. No, that's gotta be the first one. We skipped the first one here. There's two different ones. That's the second one.
Personnel is it the 313-3A?
Yeah, that's the second one that we have to go, that we have to say, right?
Yes.
Well, what's the first one?
The personnel.
Oh, yeah,
matter at
I
hand.
make a motion that we enter into executive session to discuss the personnel matter at hand, and it is
9:43.
because of the
Sensitive nature.
sensitive nature of the personnel matter. Second, anybody?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Make a motion that move that we enter into executive session to discuss the personnel matter under provisions of Title I, Section 313A1A of the Vermont statutes.
I'll second it. Do we need to just say the board and include to the town manager?
I'm gonna say, all in favor?
Aye. Sorry, I was trying to find it. It's not A1A, it's, personnel is 313A3. On the back of your agenda, see where personnel is? A1A is contracts.
Well, then our minutes were wrong.
Because I think we went to contracts last time, didn't we?
Well, it says personnel matter, but
Oh, maybe it was. I don't know.
I don't think anyone's taken us to court.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.